Hi everyone, Zdenek here. I've had an idea because I've been doing this actually in my English lessons, in my private one-to-one lessons with my students recently. I've been using ChatGPT to create choose your own adventure stories. And my students and I are the characters of these stories. We are making it chaotic, wacky, funny, witty, and we are asking ChatGPT to teach us some idioms through it. And it's choose your own adventure story. So at the end of each chapter, it's going to ask us, or it's going to suggest four options, and then we pick one of those options, and then that's how the story will continue, right? So I thought I might do something similar here on this YouTube channel and get you lot involved and see how this goes. I will try to keep these videos short, and to show you what I'm gonna do now, I will dive right into it. Here's what I have prepared. I have asked ChatGPT to I have written some prompts for ChatGPT, and here they are. Create a choose your own adventure story. Please make the first chapter and end it with four options of what to do next. You see, I said please because I'm so polite. And I know I'm not talking to a real person, but I want to be polite even to ChatGPT. Anyway, I've got a few more bullet points. Specific humor in it. I want specific humor, whatever that means. I want some science fiction and fantasy because those are my favorite genres. And I want this to be a thriller as well. And the main character is me, Zdenek, very sort of vain, right? Very self-centered or uh, self-indulging approach, but who cares? Let's see where it takes us. I'm an English teacher from the Czech Republic, and I love teaching English. And I've got two podcasts. One is called Zdenek's English Podcast. The other is the Footglish Podcast and the Teacher Zdenek YouTube channel. So those are basically some basic. This is some basic information about me. And then each chapter should have three useful British idioms in it. These should be useful and not old fashioned, because a lot of idioms that people learn online these days are a bit old fashioned. So that's what is going to happen. I have no idea what kind of story it's going to make, but I know it works and I know it will give me those options. And this is what this video will be about. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this story. I will be reading out to you. I will be reading it out to you and also commenting on it, explaining vocabulary, doing the teacher stuff, right? Let's go. Okay, here we go. It's happening. So it's called Zdenek versus the Gremlins of Galaxia. Gremlins. Do you know what gremlins are? Gremlins are, it's like fantasy creatures. Basically, they're kind of small creatures with long ears, huge ears, you could say. Uh, so that's what's happening here. Uh, I guess it's some kind of a fight. Zdenek versus the Gremlins of Galaxia. We will see. And chapter 1 is called The Split Infinitive Conspiracy. The split infinitive. Do I want to go into that? I guess not yet, but it's basically something that can happen in the English grammar, and it's not correct, but a lot of people do it anyway. And conspiracy is it's some kind of a theory which somebody has come up with and that is not necessarily based on facts and truth, right? You know, there are a lot of conspiracy theories. One of them is the flat earth theory. That's the theory that claims that the earth, our planet, is not round but it's flat. It's a conspiracy theory. It's not really something we should believe, right? Anyway, here's the first chapter, and at the end we have the four options. So let me read it out to you. Zdenek, a humble yet heroic English teacher from the Czech Republic, sipped his Earl Grey tea, and glanced at a blinking light on his intergalactic podcast transmitter. So, a humble guy, if you're humble, it means you're not arrogant. You don't think you're the best. You are just kind of a nice person who doesn't think too highly of themselves, right? So obviously, I'm definitely the most humble person you can imagine. I'm the humblest person on planet Earth. And despite being humble, I'm also heroic. Heroic means uh, basically that uh, you are like a hero, right? You have the characteristics of a hero. Honestly, I don't know about that, but definitely I'm an English teacher. That is my profession, and I'm from the Czech Republic. That's right, or some people call it Czechia. And I sipped my Earl Grey tea, as in the typical English tea, right? British tea, and I glance to glance at something, it's like to quickly look at something, right? I glance at a blinking light. A light that blinks is some kind of light that blinks, right? So it's, you see it and then you don't see it, it blinks. You know, you have a lot of blinking lights, I guess, when there are some lamps in the street that are not functioning well, that are maybe broken, and then instead of the light shining all the time as it should, it's blinking, right? Or I don't know, somewhere at the discotheque, you could have like some blinking lights, or you may have blink, like you can blink your eyes, right? If you do this, you're blinking your eyes are blinking, right? Okay. Where were we? Right. So the blinking light of my intergalactic podcast transmitter. Should I explain what that is? Well, podcast transmitter is usually like a radio thing, right? Something that transmits a signal to another place where somebody is receiving my signal with a receiver. So intergalactic, it probably means that this signal is can be sort of traced, or can be um, heard or noticed between different galaxies in space, I guess. Anyway, the Footglish podcast had just hit 1 million downloads across 3 planets. Uh, that doesn't sound right. It barely has 100 downloads each time, so I don't think so. Anyway, including Jupiter's moon Europa, where scientists squid is like a type of basically sea creature, like something, is it similar to an octopus? I don't know exactly what the difference between an octopus and squid is, but some people do eat it, especially here in Vietnam. I'm quickly checking what a squid is. Squid is a secret. Oh my god, it's gonna show me the Squid Game, of course. I don't want the Squid Game. Yeah, it looks like a weird octopus, I suppose. Um, so a scientist squid, interesting, had recently discovered football, and were now Liverpool supporters for reason and were sorry and were now Liverpool supporters for reasons unknown. Does that make sense? Let me read that sentence again. The Footglish podcast had just hit 1 million downloads across 3 planets, including Jupiter's moon Europa, where scientist Quid had recently discovered football and were now Liverpool supporters for reasons unknown. Makes no sense. I think there's a mistake. But something wasn't quite right. That's right. The previous sentence wasn't quite right. The grammar analyzer on his spaceship, the Tense Tutor 3000, was having a meltdown. Literally, smoke billowed from the console as the screen flashed red. Okay. A grammar analyzer on his spaceship, it sounds like some kind of device which analyzes grammar, right? And it's called the Tense Tutor 3000, was having a meltdown. So if you have a meltdown, I, it usually means that I guess you have had too much and it stopped working, right? It could be a human being having a meltdown. Maybe they just have had too much stress, and then they kind of like broke. That person breaks down, right? A breakdown is similar, I guess, meltdown. But in this case, it's a literal meltdown. So smoke is coming out of that console, that device, as the screen is also flashing red. I guess this is some kind of light that shows if something is going wrong, then you will know, right? If it's flashing red. Warning, unauthorized use of the Oxford comma detected on planet Gremlin 5. Yeah, that's cool. Not again, muttered Zdenek. I should mutter it. So, not again. So, if you mutter, you kind of say something, maybe not very clearly. You just kind of mutter under your breath. You're like, not again, right? Donning his cloak made of irregular verb lists. Wow. So if you don something, it means you put it on, like you put on a cloak. Cloak is what is a cloak? Cloak is something that people wear, like scientists wear it, for example, a white cloak, right? Or maybe some robber could wear a cloak that will make them um, that will help them sort of hide in the shadows. If you wear a cloak, some kind of brown cloak, I suppose. But this cloak was made of irregular verb lists. Wow. You know, irregular verb lists, those are lists of verbs which are not regular, like run, ran, ran, take, took, taken, and hit, 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 cut, cut, cut. These verbs. So lists, people often make lists to help them remember. I'm not sure it always works, but anyway, the good news is that the list of these phrasal verbs is limited, so it's not endless. Fortunately, most of the verbs are regular. Okay. Last time they tried to ban the past perfect, and it nearly caused a temporal paradox. um, said Zdenek. Okay, past perfect is an English tense. If you say, when I came to the party, everybody had left, it means nobody was there. People left before I came. So we use this past perfect tense to talk about an action which happened before the main action of that sentence. Well, this would cause a temporal paradox. A temporal paradox is something that basically time kind of goes chronologically, right? We have the seconds, minutes, hours, but if you create a paradox, it often happens in those films or TV shows about time travel. Like, what was the most famous one called? Back to the Future, right? So if you create a paradox, something bad is going to happen, right? There's some illogical thing happening. As the self-cleaning whiteboard rebooted, a holographic message appeared. It was from Her Majesty's Secret Language Intelligence Division, HMSLID. So a whiteboard, you know what's a whiteboard? This is a board which is white and people write on it with markers, right? Whiteboard markers. And this one is self-cleaning, which means the teacher doesn't have to do it. The students don't have to do it. Nobody has to do it. It cleans itself, right? I don't know how it's done, but I bet someone has come up with that before. Okay, so there was a holographic message. You know what's a holograph? Um, it's like a projection of something, right? So it could be a person, but in this case, a message, a like projection of light, which shows a message. It was from Her Majesty's Secret Language Intelligence Division. Agent Z, the posh voice said. A voice that is posh is basically like a high class voice, right? Agent Z, like you speak in this lofty, elevated voice. Gremlins are tampering with universal syntax again. You must go to Grammarian 5 and stop them before all English tenses collapse into one. Massive present continuous. Right. So that sounds like a real problem. Basically, gremlins are the bad guys in this story, I suppose. Some monsters which are trying to tamper with universal syntax. So syntax is basically the rules of grammar, like it's how the sentences are made, uh, like the sentence elements, like subjects, verbs. It's all about the logic and the sequence. And this is something you can study in university. Have um, I have my exam in syntax, and it was basically part of my linguistic module when I studied English teaching in university. And so if gremlins are tampering with this universal syntax, it means they are trying to tamper. You can tamper with evidence, which means you have some evidence maybe of a crime, and then you're trying to change it, right? You're trying to do something with it, something illegal, something which will confuse people, something which will make things wrong. So you usually have some sort of what's it called, like agenda. You have a reason you do this. You tamper with evidence. Here these grammar goblins, the bastards, they are doing this, and I'm supposed to go to grammarian 5 and stop them, or something terrible could happen. What could happen? English tenses could collapse into one. Imagine all those English tenses: present simple, present continuous, past perfect, all these wonderful tenses, suddenly they would become just one. What would be a disaster, right? The students would absolutely hate that, having to learn only one English tense. Oh my God, this sounds like a great thing. Right. Preferably in the second conditional. Sorry, I'm skipping. Zdenek stood up, cracked his knuckles. You know what it means if you crack your knuckles? You do this, right? With your these are knuckles, and you crack them. Some people crack their knuckles, right? So sort of like stretch your knuckles, and they make this cracking sound. And said, "Time to teach these gremlins a lesson they will never forget." Preferably in the second conditional. It's like a little joke, right? Because English teachers, they dread teaching conditionals. I actually kind of love teaching conditionals. What's a second conditional? It's like when you say, if I were you, I would not listen to this podcast, or I would not watch this video. Yeah. Or if I had more time, I would probably do something more useful. So this is the second conditional. So it's time to teach these gremlins a lesson. The first meaning is like it's time to show them what's right and what's wrong, and show them that I'm the boss, I guess, and what they are doing is illegal, what they are doing is wrong. So I will show them, teach someone a lesson, right? But it also means you can literally teach someone a lesson. I'm an English teacher. If you guys want, I offer one-to-one English lessons. Just send me an email at teachersdenek@gmail.com and we can make it work. But here is the end of this first chapter, and we have got some idioms which appeared in this chapter, which are explained here. If something is not quite right, it means it feels a bit suspicious or a bit off. Something wasn't quite right with the blinking light on the transmitter means it didn't seem to work uh, perfectly, right? It seemed to have been a bit broken, let's say. If you have a meltdown, you lose control, you panic, or you break down, as I said. The grammar analyzer was having a meltdown, right? And to crack your knuckles, okay. So it literally means you crack your knuckles, as I said, but it also means get ready to take action, which is the metaphorical meaning here. Then I cracked his knuckles and prepared for battle, right? So I just said, okay, let's get ready. You could also roll up your sleeves, pull up your socks is another one, or crack your knuckles. So all these three idioms have a similar meaning. And here we go. So what should Zdenek do next? And that will be your task, because I will record the next video based on what you guys decide. I would like you to go to the comment section under this video and choose 1, 2, 3, 4. Just write 1, 2, 3, or 4. If you want to practice English, you can say why as well. But I don't care if you just write 1, 2, 3, 4. That's enough for me. And the option with the most votes will be the next video. Oh, the option with the most votes wins, and I will say, okay, continue the story following that option, and that will be the next video. And that's what I would like to do in this, I guess, series. We will see if people like it, but this could become a series, right? So there's a fun story where I explain what idioms, vocabulary, and it's a bit crazy, and you guys can be part of this. Let's see what I can do next. Number 1, board the Tense Tutor 3000 and fly straight to Grammarian 5, armed with a dictionary laser and a sarcasm ray. Wow. So these are some powerful weapons, right? Dictionary laser and a sarcasm ray. You know what's a ray? Ray of sunshine, right? It's like a long beam, you could say, beam of light. And so that's one option. I could just fly to that planet directly, board the Tense Tutor 3000. What was that again? Was that like a space shuttle? It's here, a spaceship, right? Spacecraft. I could do that, right? Option 2, record a new YouTube video titled "How to Survive a Grammar Apocalypse to Warn the Galaxy." Wow, that sounds interesting too, I suppose. Option 3, call his podcast audience and ask them to vote on the best strategy using the call-in clause. Call-in clause. Okay, so that is option 3. I could just ask my podcast audience for help because I don't know what to do, which I'm kind of doing here. So you could that's a bit crazy, right? You could choose option 3, which is basically doing what you are doing anyway. Anyway, I'm confused. Option 4, teleport to the Gremlin Council's secret chamber disguised as a confused ESL student. So ESL student is a student of English as a second language. I hope that's you guys watching this, because I have this YouTube channel as an English teacher, so I assume most of my viewers are ESL students. And I could pretend to be an ESL student. If you're disguised, you basically pretend to be someone else, right? I claim to be a student, but in reality, I'm someone else. I'm a teacher. And I could just teleport there. I don't know how it's easy these days to teleport like that to the Gremlin Council's secret chamber, especially if this chamber is secret. How do I know where it is? Wow, this is crazy. So that's option 4. And now it's up to you guys. Over to you. Pick one of these 4 options. Write it under below the video, and yeah, I will be here soon with a continuation of this story, chapter 2, because I think these videos can be short. And yeah, let's see what happens. Okay, don't forget to give this video a like if you liked it, and let me talk to you next time in chapter 2. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.